Hi, hello everyone. So we are back with the third episode, and we'll continue where we left off yesterday. And we'll go with widgets. So first of all, introductions. So I'm Sunny, and I am a Flutter developer full time, and I also run Flutter Ahmedabad. And we have started this book club to help everyone who is learning Flutter, who just wants to review the book Flutter Apprentice by Ray Wenderlich. So it is more of a motivation here. So, and with me today is Bharat and Bharat.
Okay, so yeah, according as Sunny said, we will be talking about a book which is made by Ray and we have almost finished the third chapter. And today we will be exploring the chapter number 4 and 5, and if possible, we will also go further. Yeah,
Hmm. And unlike every day, this time, I mean, for today, we have not prepared anything. We did not take any time to go over what we will see. So whatever we will see in the book on stream, it will be new for us too. So let's learn together, and yeah, that's how you learn. You try to do boring stuff, reading, and then try and fail, and then learn. And so yeah, continue. Um, how do we move now? So let me share my screen and let's see what we have in the contents. I hope it is visible.
yeah, it's visible.
So from yesterday, what we did is we completed card, right?
Yes.
Yeah, we did complete all the cards. I am missing. Not okay. This is not that. This one. So we built three kinds of cards, and I hope if you are following us, then you may have also tried to look at the content and try to run this code and tinker with it to understand how you would create a layout using mixing, matching, stack, and other things. Give me a second. I have to attend someone at the door.
Okay. Yeah. Sure.
Meanwhile, you can continue if you want to.
Okay. So let me share my screen. I hope the screen is visible. Yeah, it's visible. So yeah, yesterday we have looked the widget and we explored that how can we create use a stack and build multiple widgets and use multiple widget to design certain type of UI with element given by Flutter. But today we will be going further with chapter number 4, which is the understanding of widget and yeah, so in this we will be exploring what is widget and how widget renders, then what is Flutter Inspector and types of widget and a widget lifecycle. So yeah, the first one is what is widget. And so the widget building block of user interface. So it usually we can say that everything you see in the screen is widget, and we build it like Lego, and we can say that it's like a tree structure. So in the parrot we have certain widget, and in the child widget we also add some widget to build a UI. So we can say that how did we build the card too. So we have built the card. So there are multiple things. One is another card, then expanded. So first one is container. So you can see the red line, which is container. Inside that container, we are splitting this container into two parts. One is title and icon of the image, icon and image, and another one is with expanded. Inside expanded, we are taking column to split these two. First one is inside the column we have two widget, which is one is author card and second one is expanded. Expanded takes almost every space in the screen after author card. And inside author card, inside expanded, we are taking stake and position text to position, and inside position we are adding a text. And this one is rotated box to rotate the smoothies text, and also we are using position to position the text. So yeah, we can say the container widget, which is style decoration and positions widget, column widget which displays other widget vertically. Author card custom widget displays author's information. Then there is expanded widget which uses to fill remaining space. Then there is stack widget which is places the widget on top of each other. And position widget controls the widget's position in the stack. So let's look at the widget tree. So we have card. So card 2 is the stateless widget. Inside stateless widget, we are centering everything. So we can see everything on the center. Then we have container widget. Inside container widget, we need a column to display widgets vertically. Inside column, we have two widget. One is author card and the expanded. So we was usually see in a tree structure. So let's break it down. Author card. So author card has multiple widget. One is author card, which is stateless widget itself. Then we have container. Inside container, we are wrapping it with a row. Inside row, we have but one row and one icon button. So this over here. So this one is icon button and this one is row. Inside row, we have multiple widget, which is circle image. So circle image, which is circle avatar and size box. So this is a size box and column, which has these two text. So we are also displaying it vertically and multiple text. Then we have expanded widget, which is we can say that it's taking a lot of every space after author card. And the inside that we have stack, and inside stack we have so stack usually take multiple widgets, so it's called children. So we have two positions widget. One is this one and second one is this one. Inside position we have text and rotator box, so we are rotating this smoothies text. So that's why we are using rotated box. So it's rotating 3 times. Okay, so rendering a widget.
Uh, Bharat, excuse me,
Yeah.
can you uh, turn up the zoom level, probably 110% or something, on your web
Okay.
page on this book letter? Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So here, yeah, it is visible. So this portion was about understanding that your UI is a tree. You can form a tree out of your UI, and that is what Flutter also does when taking your code and trying to turn it into the thing that is shown on the screen. So
Yeah.
there is certain process that it does. So first process is to understand, take the widgets tree that we have written in the language, by right by mixing and matching widgets, and each build method has some mix of widgets, and every single widget has a build method. So if you say all the if you think about the widget that you build versus the widget that is already available, everything has a build method. So let's go down and see how actually the widgets are getting rendered on the screen. Here on top layer we have our Dart, and then there is Flutter engine, which is written in C++, which will result in very fast engine that will convert our Dart code into what we see on screen. Then there is Embedder, and what Embedder means is your Android or iOS platforms code. So there is some certain code written which binds Flutter with the Android app. So if we realistically see all the apps, if we run a Flutter app on Android, it is actually running an Android app, and it embeds your Flutter code with a process, Flutter code, and your and the whole Flutter engine inside the APK, if you may say. So that is how you can also wrap your mind around how everything connects. Then now, if we only look at the top layer, we have widgets, and majorly we already have material and Cupertino available for us in Flutter, and we can also do our own widgets. That's all right. And that is the layer below, which is generic widgets, which you can take and make your own, completely your own, without thinking about material or Cupertino. If you have your own design style, you can directly use widgets and compose the UI you want. But most of the time, you will find out that material or Cupertino will satisfy your design needs uh, largely. Okay, so that's what it is. Then the lower layer is rendering, which uh, let's read it. So rendering layer is a layout abstraction that draws and handles the widget's layout. Imagine having to recompile every widget's coordinates and frames manually. So rendering handles that. It takes your widgets and tries to give them sizes and coordinates on where it should be placed on your screen. Then there is foundation layer. So foundation layer does not bother about what and where and how to put widgets, but it takes instructions from rendering layer, which produces the data on the position uh, and sizes of everything. And foundation layer only concerned about how to actually draw on the screen. So if you have Android or iOS device or any kind of device, the foundation layer only takes input from rendering layer and tries and it's responsible for drawing the UI in most effective way on your screen. Okay, so this was that, and now move forward to trees. So we already know that widgets can be described in tree, and we have also seen examples of stateful and stateless widgets. Okay, but have you ever thought where this state value would get stored, and are I mean, and also one more information, that widgets are not directly getting rendered, they are first getting converted to render object. So uh, if we look at the theory, not theory, but actually we have three different trees. First is widget tree, second is element tree, and Third is render object. So let's go from backwards. So render object only is concerned about how to size and paint the children, and it also tries to lay out all the children of the tree, and position them and give them sizes, and sorry, and takes the given size and creates a plan on how to actually render them on the screen. Then elementary takes care of the life cycle of the widget. That means if something gets changed on the screen, so elementary tries to optimize that. Is a specific widget needed to be updated? So for example, if you've changed the state, for example, in the last example we had bottom navigation, and as soon as we tapped one of it, it has to understand that we are trying to select the middle tab, the second tab. And Flutter tries to do, what Flutter does is it renders every frame as whole every single time, 60 times a second. And so that it has to optimize and understand that what exactly has to be updated, and no, and all, and only update them, and copy everything else over to the next frame, next drawing session, that is 60 times a second. So elementary manages the life cycle of the widget, and if you change the state, it decides whether a widget should be changed or not. And then it gives that information to render object, and render object tree does the rendering part. And then let's move a level up again, and we come back to widget tree, which is our code that we write, and we have already seen what it is. Okay. Okay, let's read now. There are two types of elements. So now it's about elementaries. Um, a type of element that's composed of other elements, and there is another type is render object element, which is a type of element that holds a render object. Okay. Then you can think of component element as a group of element, and render object element as a single element. uh, Similar to widgets. If you are using single widgets, then that, and if you are trying to mix and match to build cool UIs, so that can be called a component widget, but not not actually, but yeah. uh, so
Simple
it's
idea.
about simply so just to understand the analogy. Okay, let's move down and see the illustration. So this was our widget tree, and wherever we had a group of items, we will have group of elementaries. For example, if for card 2 we have multiple widgets, so you may call it there is a component element which is set of all these elements. And later in column, there can be multiple items in multiple children in column, then it must also have multiple elements for each of the children, and each element will hold a reference to a render object. So that is how it internally references everything. Okay. Let's read again. as you saw in previous as you saw in previous chapters, Flutter starts to build your app by calling run app. Every widget's build method then composes a subtree of widgets. For each widget in the widget tree, Flutter creates a corresponding element, as we just said. The elementary manages each widget's instance and associates a render object to tell framework how to render a particular widget. Yeah, so we saw all that. I mean, understood all that. And you can try to understand what it is in their own words by following this session which they gave in Flutter China, right? That event was held a year back, I think. So it's a
Oh,
YouTube video, and that is how I know and understand what all this is. So, next topic, what is this, Bharat?
Yeah, so getting started. So we will see a dart dev tool. So
Okay.
how to use a dart dev tool and how widgets render. So when
Hmm.
you open Android Studio, so let me open Android Studio. Hmm, yeah, sorry. Yeah, third chapter. Oh, sorry. Open the recent app. Let me close it and open it on Android Intelligent because I have opened it on Intelligent later. Okay, so when you open a Android Studio or Intelligent, you see there is a Dart dev tool. So when you run it, you will see it. So let me open a emulator and let me run it. So let's go to main.dart and run the app. So currently we have home. So let me comment this and run home 3. So once app run, the Dart dev tool icon will be highlighted. So inside this, so we will be taking a look of this card. So let's open this Dart dev tool on the browser. You can use any browser. So we have home 3 card. This one. So when you click on this one, you will see how it's rendering. So it's like a box type of layout explorer, and you can see little tree. So home 3 has a scaffold. So let me go to home 3. So we have added a scaffold. So you can see the scaffold over here. Inside scaffold, we have card and the tree of widget totally. But we have multiple widget. We haven't implemented it over here, but you can see it over here. So Sunny, would you like to tell us what is this widget, scaffold, scope, and notification listener and other widgets?
I really do not know scaffold scope, but I know notification listener. So, what notification listener is that you put listener on tree, and anywhere from children on from its children you can actually listen. to the notification. For example, a simplest use case is scrolling. So if something is scrolling, and if you want to see where we are in the scroll, in scroll while scrolling, are we at the end or top or middle or the extent where we are? So we can do that by listening to this notification listener or for the
Listener.
scroll notification. We can create our own notification listeners in at any point in the tree to understand if something is happening on that part of tree, or if you want to communicate between widgets. That can be multiple use cases, but that is how it basically works.
So yeah, in with this screen, you can see multiple, but let me show you one thing. Okay, so we have multiple things like how we use that dev tool. So currently we have nothing in the screen. So when you click on select widget mode, it will turn on the select widget mode, and you can click on the any widget and it will find you the widget. So currently I have clicked on stack and it will highlight the stack widget, and inside Android Studio it will also go to stack widget and tell you that this is your stack widget and you are looking for this one. You can also see the slow animation. So when you click on this button, it will be animation will be slow. Like you can see the favorite place, and it will be gone in a couple of seconds. So yeah, and you can see the guidelines. So how widgets will be is built on the screen, and you can also see the baseline. So what are the baselines over here? If the image is oversized, so size of the image is greater than a widget that you are using, then you can see it with highlight oversized image. There are a performance monitor too, so you can see the how many milliseconds and how many frames per second that you are getting inside application. So when you click on the screen, and it will be updated. So currently we are getting 60 fps.
So here there is a note that you do not have to feel scared about that your application is not working correctly if you do not see 60 fps here. It depends on how you are running the app. So when you are in debug mode, just debugging your app, it actually gives you less performance. So if you actually want to test your app out using DevTools, you have to run your app in profile mode. We'll take a look at the launch settings later, but yeah.
Okay, so you can also see CPU profile and memory. So how much memory it uses. So currently it uses about 58 or 77 MB. And yeah, so if you are having any memory leaks or any issue that related to memory, so you can see what over here. And also there is a network tab. So if you are making any API call, so you will see the URI over here and the status of the URI. So if you are making any API request and you are getting a 200 or a status of 200 or 400, so you will see the uh, status over here, and the app size will be over here. So when you analyze your application, and it will analyze it and tell you the app size. And this is hot reload, so you can see hot reload over here. But if you want to if you are using terminal to run your app, and you want to hot reload, so you can use R, or you can use the dart dev tool to hot reload your app. So this is a hot restart tool, and you can see more settings. Yeah. Okay, let me move to the book. So yeah, refresh tree, slow animation, slow guidance, slow baselines, highlight paint. I am so I am on highlight. So it will highlight everything with a widget. So every widget will be highlighted.
whenever so this one is interesting actually. When you are
Yeah.
learning Flutter, and if you want to understand, whenever you do set state, uh, we know that something changes. Your screen gets updated, but up to what extent? If you if you have if you are doing set state and then changing something, then you can look at the highlight repaints, and whenever the portion or a widget repaints, the color of that widget's border will get changed, and that's how you will know that uh, the recent rebuild, uh, I mean, how efficient is your rebuild? So if you are changing only the words, like for example, healthy or vegan, or you are adding a new chip, then it should only update the card and not the whole app.
Yeah.
So similarly, if you want to, if you have um, added a state for chips, so all the names of the chips, and if you remove or add something, then it will also it should, for yourself, for performance sake, it should only rebuild the chips and not the whole card. So that with that you can check if you are doing unnecessary rebuilds, or if your app is somehow doing unnecessary repaints or rebuilds, uh, and you can avoid uh, find and avoid doing those mistakes. So in early days, it is very good to try to see what is happening in your app by using the tools.
Yeah. So if the image is oversized, it will invert the image. Okay, as this. And this is inspect widget tree. Okay,
I have a story behind this invert oversized image.
Captain.
So what happened that yesterday you were there, Bharat. So yesterday
Uh-huh.
we were looking at an app which was crashing randomly. So the first thing is, why is it crashing? We have to find that out. And we looked at DevTools memory tab and found out that it is taking, it is not taking, it is hogging memory. It is, as soon as
About
you
3 or 4
open the
gigabytes.
page, as soon as you open the main page, the dashboard page where there are so many images, it will just keep acquiring image memory, and as soon as it reaches 2 GB, the Android system will kill it because it has to protect the phone's users' interests by not slowing down the phone, obviously. So that was the case. Now, how do you even find that images are causing it? It can be different thing, probably a memory leak where objects are not getting disposed properly. So one way that we could have used, Bharat, is this inverted images.
Okay.
And the solution that that I mean, with hard work and with very long try and errors, we found out that images were at fault, and what we did is we used a plugin in Flutter which compresses the sorry not
Compress
compresses,
image.
which resizes the
Yeah.
image to the viewport size. So if you want to show an image in for example here, 340 by sorry 300 by 400 for example, then your image, if you are loading an image which is 1000 by 1000, that is not going to work. It will work, but it will take up that much more space while we do not actually need it. So the optimization that we did is we used that package to resize images to the viewport size, and then we came down to 700 MB of memory usage, and it took a lot of time, and now I learned the hard way that we should try to flip all the switches in the DevTools before uh, trying our
Great
hacky
traffic.
ways.
Yes.
Bharat.
Yes. True. So it was taken. It took a lot of time and lot of effort to fix the issue. But yeah, we able to fix it, the issue.
Okay, let's move forward.
Mhm.
Okay, what is this?
This is a
Hmm.
layout
Okay.
explorer with a box
Yeah,
UI.
how it is connecting to its parent, the constraints and other things. And one more feature that there is that if you're using a column or row or any scrollable widgets or flexible widgets, then you can experiment with your UI by altering some values. For example, in column we have uh, a way to distribute spaces between between all those widgets. So there are multiple modes, and if you want to just quickly check it out if something would look better or or whatever, you can change the options from this UI only. So later we'll check it out if we have any we get an opportunity. Okay, let's do stack or column please.
Column. Okay.
Yeah,
This
any
column.
column,
Yeah, this one.
this one. And yeah, see here, so this is a column and it shows that there is an icon and there is a size box, and they both are acquiring how much space in relation to what is running in your phone right now. So this phone, for the UI that is there on the phone, this is the exact constraints and height, width and sizes you can inspect. And on the top and on the side we can see cross axis and main axis, what that is. And for cross and main axis you can also change the property cross axis alignment and main axis alignment just by changing the values on the in this box model.
Yeah.
uh,
So let me do
so
it. There is column. This column.
okay, refresh please if it is not coming up.
Okay. Let me refresh.
Yeah, feel or you can just select the widget, as simple as that. Hmm. And refresh tree please.
It's not refresh. Not working.
Reload the web page itself.
Yes.
Let's see if that would work.
Yeah, worked.
Yeah, it worked.
So when
So
you click on
take column
uh,
and
and then we can change the value of this. So
you can see the changes live on your screen and on the box model.
we can
And it
see
will
big,
also
tight, and loose.
it also marks errors that you may face in red characters,
Yeah,
so you can
unsorted
take a
won't
look
it?
at them. Hmm. Okay, so this is an interesting thing that is very good to see when you are actually building your app for the first time, or
Yeah, it's like a
when you are
developing a
trying
web
to
page.
and when you are trying to ship out features quickly and you want to understand complex layouts
UI.
and how it is affecting the size and how it is interacting with each other.
So yeah, it's like designing UI real time and getting the idea of how we will design it. So you can also so it's just like a developing a web page, and you can do it inspect and write a CSS. You can do it over here, so you can change the flags and everything. So and then you will get the idea that okay, I need to design and I want to use this one, like this one is and the center. So this will be on site. So you can play it with it. Okay. Let's go to main axis alignment and cross axis alignment. Yeah, so Sunny, would you like to tell us what is main axis and cross axis alignment? So you have so the start and center space between and everything. But what is
Yeah,
main axis and cross axis?
keep it open, please. So
Yeah.
whenever you create a row or column, you can specify multiple childrens that would flow in one axis, and the axis which it flows on is called main axis, and the other one uh, would be called cross axis. So for column, it is the main axis is vertical one because contents flow from top to bottom. Similarly, for row, it is horizontal one. And here we
Hmm.
get some, as I just mentioned, that you get a way to align your children with some properties. So in a column, if you want to push all the children to the right, sorry, to the start or to the end of the main axis or cross axis, you can use those values start and end. Then you have center and stretch. So center, what it does is it will put all the children in the center of the layout. So if you are doing cross axis center, then it will put all the children to the center on its cross axis, and the next one is stretch. So it will stretch its child on the given axis. So cross axis or main axis both has stretch, right? Is it?
No,
Do not
main axis
remember.
alignment don't have trace.
Main, हाँ, main
Main
cannot have
axis.
stretch. Yeah.
Yeah.
So main में क्या है? Main में spacing होगा, right? Let me move this
Yes.
around. Okay. Full screen. Yeah. So main axis, the where the child children flow, you can decide whether you want to put all the child pinned towards start, end, or center. And there is what to do with space. So there are options for spaces also. If you want to add spaces between the children or around the children, or want to space all the children evenly. So these are some pretty useful uh, switches or say configurations for column and rows. And most of the time you'll be satisfied with what it offers, and if it does not, then you will find help on Stack Overflow, or probably there is a widget for it.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go forward.
Okay.
What do we have?
So when I change it, it will change it in the code also. Yeah. So types of widget.
We already know this stateful and stateless, and
Yes.
there is this life cycle. So what
First stateful.
happens? All the stateful or stateless widgets are classes. So first of all, whenever you try to create them, it will an object will be created out of it, and so the first of all constructor would be called, and then the build method would be called to show them. That is the most general case. But in case of a stateful widget, we also the widget also depends on something called state can be state is for
Value.
example a simple variable or a
Simple
value
value.
which you use to show something on the screen. So in that case, if you have stateless widget, then first of all, your init state method will be called, and init state is where you can configure the initial values for the widget. Then did change dependency will be called, that is uh, that that runs every time your state changes. Then by default, uh, there is a flag called dirty, which says that the current widget which is being shown on the screen is not right and we have to rebuild it. So try to recalculate it. So initially it is set to true, and then the as soon as it is built in the next frame or say next time, it will be marked as false. and as soon as you are done with it, probably you are going back to going back screen in the backward screen, so previous screen. Then what we have to do, so what Flutter has to do is dispose of all the widgets that was there in the next screens, because we no longer need it. And to do that, the steps are to first call deactivate and dispose method of it. And now there is what happens when do you do set state. So it simply changes the value dirty is equal
True,
to
true.
true. And what it does, as we already know, it will in the next frame try to build the widget, because it thinks that it is not correct representation at that time. So next frame will be recalculated for that widget and then be shown on the screen.
Okay.
So you can
So
read all this information and to understand it in greater detail. But the overview is what I gave you. It's that simple, and it you may find it very practical how it works. Uh, if you have to solve this kind of problem, this is a very simple and repeatable approach and can be relied on, because there is only one variable dirty which you depend on to choose if this widget has to be rebuilt. And
yeah,
as developers you can access this these methods and uh, variables if you ever need to, because Flutter is open source, you can also try to understand how it is actually being used in the underlying code. So we'll take a look at it later, but just to let you know that everything is possible if you want to take a look at it.
yeah. Okay, so in this book is written that we will be adding a stateful widget to the heart rate. My cat smoothie. So let's do it.
The simplest
Mm,
way to create a stateful widget is to use the snippet that Flutter by default provides you in the with the SDK. So you can type out some characters and it will give you a whole template for the stateless widget. And other way was to stand on a stateless widget and look at the suggestions on that yellow bulb, and it must have a suggestion called convert to
convert to stateful.
stateful widget. So a stateless widget will be converted uh, to stateful widget. Let's try.
Yeah,
Yeah.
voter
Okay.
card is not some type of type. Let me
Please
restart
try
it.
to just reload it and probably it will solve itself. Try.
Yeah, restart.
Yeah, it is a temporary one, because this Flutter could not understand what exactly to rebuild to accommodate the changes that we just did.
So currently we have now two classes. One is card and there is author card state. Okay. So inside author card state we will be adding a boolean is favorited true or false. So inside author card we will be adding this boolean and inside icon button. So let me go to icon button. We can use this or we can use start dev tool. So we can just select and yeah, it's done. This one. And then we have if icon. Icon is favorited, then favorite border. So let me just add the icon. And we are having on press button. So we will be removing the snack bar and we'll be calling a set state method. And if favorited is true, then we will be calling. Sorry, sorry, yeah, So we will be so if the boolean is true, then we will be calling it false, and when it's false, then we will turn it to true. So let's save it and let's see. Yeah, so we can also change the color. So color plus dot red. Yeah, looks good. So examining the widget tree. So how it's working. So we have a widget tree called author card, which was stateful widget, which is stateful widget now, and icon is a stateless element. So when we change, so we are calling a set state method, and the set state method. So we are icon will be depending on the is favorited boolean. So if it's true, then it will change the color to icons dot favorite, and if it's false, then icons dot favorite border. And let me change. Yeah. And when we call the set state method, it will call the build method, which is over here, and rerun the whole build method. But it won't rebuild everything. It will just rebuild this icon and show it the new state of the screen. Inherited widget. Sunny, would you like to tell what is inherited widget?
Yeah. So inherited widget is a widget that holds your data and then lets anyone in the child of the tree access them. Simply, it is that only. So let's try to read this thing,
Yeah.
what it is trying to show us. So inherited widget lets you access state information from the parent elements in the tree hierarchy. And imagine you having a piece of data way up in the tree and you want to access it. One way is to keep passing that data through constructor or other ways, and that can become repetitive and unnecessary very soon because you will be writing a lot of code just to pass. So to overcome, we have inherited widgets. So let's scroll down. For the example of inherited widget is theme widget. Oh, so far we have not used theme, right? Have we, Bharat?
Yes. Yes,
Okay,
we
I
have used
mean,
theme
have you shown us
inside main.
how theme works?
Nah, we haven't shown
Uh,
what is theme, how to
let's
use
try
theme.
to change my cats here because it is relevant right now. Try to
Sorry.
select the widget from DevTools and select the author
Okay, my
card.
cards.
Yeah, and quickly go to that code. So that is
Yeah,
how
this
we
one.
I do it all the time. I do not
I also do
remember
this.
where my code is for the UI. I just select it. Okay, here. So here, what we can see is that we are directly using theme from this class,
What is theme?
which is let's say a manual way. We have we are manually taking this theme, but uh, do you think that how have you ever thought that how the default style of text can be taken from material app? Because if you look at the main function, we have given material app a theme, and that theme comes from our custom theme data. Okay, light and dark. So first of all, let's look at material app here, here, and here we have given theme to material app. So we have that. And later when we want to access it in one of the children, for example text, let's come back.
Okay, author card text.
Yes, and here we want to get the theme that is set for now. So what we can do, we can use theme dot of context. Let's start writing. Okay, here, what is this? So theme, we know what theme is. Theme is a class which holds the theme. And of context, what it does is it tries to find a nearest theme object, which in our case sits near material app. And what we are doing, we are trying to get information of theme that is there with material app, and then we are accessing text theme with headline 3 and or whatever style that we want. Okay, so this is possible because of inherited widget. We did not have to pass this information about theming down manually. It is not passing down using constructor. It is actually accessing the theme information that material widget has, and material widget keeps this there using inherited widget, and we are just accessing. So we can also do this, and this can be useful when for example we are trying to manage state uh, with larger scale. We do not have only to manage only one variable. If we have multiple variables that decide on what has to be shown to user, we can do that by using inherited widget just before that widget starts, just before defining that widget. So let's go back to our book.
Okay.
Yeah, so here there are other examples, which is API service. Yeah, that one. Then subscribing to stream to update UI according to the data received. So we can use inherited widget to keep our logic of API service on top, and then listen to what I mean to access the data. We can use in the features that inherited widget gives us to get the data from it, and also use it. So this was important to understand. So this was all theory, and I hope that you all read it by yourself. Okay, where we are here.
So
Yeah,
we
so there
are
are
on a key point. What is
hmm,
end?
okay, please summarize.
Okay, so in the key point is Flutter maintains three trees in the parallel. One is widget, second is elementary, and the render object trees. Flutter is performance based because it maintains its structure and only updates widget that needs redrawing. So we can say that when we click on this button, it won't rebuild whole widget. It will just rebuild this icon. Flutter Inspector is useful tool to debug experiment and with the inspect and widget tree. So you can see inspect and widget tree to understand how widget is rendering and what are the things are changing in the screen. So let's see widget highlight. So it will rebuild this screen. Okay. You should always start by creating stateless widget and only use stateful widget when you need to manage or maintain the state of your widget. So if you want to change the state of widget, then only you need to use stateful widget unless you can go with unless you want to change the screen. But you can go for stateless widget if you don't want to change the anything inside the screen. Inherited widget are the good solution to access state from the top of the tree. So you have already seen that uh, theme that we are inheriting from the material app, and you can read all the articles that are mentioned over here. So you can read detailed architecture overview of the Flutter widget, and you can see how the Flutter created YouTube series to what is widget and how it's working. And there is also a talk in the China. So yeah, the mark is complete. So now we have scrollable widget.
So yeah, we have covered a lot, and now it's time to do something that is so common. And if you are doing any other, if you are using any other tools like React Native or something, it is it, you may find many other ways to do it. And Flut, and I know that iOS is not that simple. And Bharat has showed me Android, which takes what adapters, right?
Painful.
List adapters or something like that,
Yeah,
which makes you write
list view.
whole class
Uh,
just to
yeah,
get
so there are two
show this.
things. One is list view and there is another recycler view, which is
Hmm,
painful to write because you write a lot of code, about two or three files of code to get a list view in the screen.
hmm. So instead of that, Flutter gives you a single widget called list view, with which you can build any kind of list with any kind of elements in it. And what is list view? List view is a scrollable container, scrollable layout, and it draws its child even if we do not have space on the axis. So, for example, if we have 1,000 items, which we generally have, for example, in our chat, we want to scroll, and list view gives us that. Then there is grid view. List view is for when we only have one column, and grid view is for when we have multiple columns. So we can see that in the second image. And both of them are very simple to build with Flutter. And let's try to do a demo. And not this code. I'd say you guys can look at this code yourself. But what we'll do, we'll create a simple list of texts probably, and we will create a list out of it. And let me tell you how important this is. It is the most common question in interviews. So if your interview is asking that they want to take a practical test where they want you to implement something to prove your skill, then most probably you will be looking at this question only, where you have to fetch data from somewhere and then show it in the list. So today we will show the data that we already have in an array in a list. And later, in later chapters, or in or today or tomorrow or in the next episode, we will try to fetch data from servers. If you wonder, we'll fetch data from servers and then show them in the list or the UI that we will build later. So Bharat, do you want me to do it?
Yeah, if you want to do. Yeah, sure.
Let me share my screen. You have done good amount of work today. Let me give you a hand. Sharing my screen. This one. Okay. The full screen move. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, this is the app which Bharat had on screen, and I already have it running. Hopefully, it is okay. It is not running. Let's run it in the background while we prepare some things. So in our lib folder, in main, let's take our demo only. Demo should be home only. Yeah, right. And in demo, we had a page yesterday, and we'll alter the page as soon as the preview shows up. in our iPhone. Yeah, here we are. So this is a simple navigation, bottom navigation bar, and does this scroll? No, it's not. Okay, we'll look at. We'll see. You can find out that feature how to create
Yeah,
that
it's a tab bar.
later.
Tab bar.
Hmm?
It's a
Okay,
tab bar.
so
Yeah,
let's delete everything. Should we? Let's delete everything.
yeah, delete.
Let's create a new stateless widget called home only. And we, as we already know, we have to import the material app, and we can do that by tapping here and on the bulb. Let's take material and save. It is not showing anything because we do not have a scaffold. So scaffold will provide us a way to create pages. App bar will create an app bar without writing anything. Okay, it's all right. Body, and in body what we want is multiple items. So by default what we do
Uh,
with for multiple items, let's have a column that we already know about, and let's take multiple cities text, uh, city names, or
you have two children. Wrap it with children text.
yeah, in column children. Okay, now we have the first element of our column, and let's have bigger cards just to fill up the space quickly. How do we do it? We can
List that.
press on this bulb and wrap it with something bigger. And we, what do we know is, let's
You can
try to
use
use
the
a
list
new.
tile.
Yeah, we know about list style. We do not know about list style right now, so let's not mention it right
Okay, container.
now. A new widget, card.
Yeah,
Card is an interesting one. Okay, we now have a card, and can we give a size to the card? How do we do
no,
that, Varun?
you have to use container for that.
Cross axis stretch.
Yeah, yeah,
Let's
you can
try.
use cross-axis alignment for stretch.
Yeah, and give it some padding and margin so that we can see it apart. So we
So
will
you can use
first of
padding
all,
widget.
yeah, on card and inside the card. Okay, let's do both, padding. Yeah, and inside card also. Do we have a padding option in card?
I guess you
What
will have a margin, I guess.
margin? So we should use margin instead of wrapping
Padding.
card with padding.
Yeah, we can
If
use it.
there is a property, let's use it. Remove it, and then let's add padding around the text that we have just created. Okay, okay. See, now our card looks very good, and because it does not change, let's add const. So removing const, unnecessary ones, and we'll add multiple cards, and there are this many. Let's add more. Okay, we still have some space left. Let's add more. Okay, now we are at a point where we do not have any more screen real estate. And I don't know if I can zoom it, but here there is this yellow black stripe, and it says bottom overflowed by 144 pixel. What that means is this widget, this column widget, needs 144 more pixel to accommodate all the cards of cities that we have here. And in these cases, what we want as a user, that let's scroll down and not, I mean, we have space, and space is limited, so you can scroll down. So for that, we can use list view instead of column, and it is a simple replacement to column. And with it, cross access won't be provided. So let's save it again and hot reloaded. Now we can scroll. So that is interesting. Just by changing column with list view, we could scroll. Okay. So what is happening here is uh, it becomes scrollable for one, and we still have this. Okay, that the one problem is solved, that scroll is available. Now the next problem is that we have to repeat ourselves a lot. We have written this much code just to show the same layout for different cities. It is not different in text, but let's assume that we will have different cities in this list. So how do we not repeat ourselves and have multiple cities? First of all, let's create a list of cities that we want to display. So list of strings, and we'll call it cities equal to an array of cities. Okay. Now we'll duplicate it for the sake of convenience. I don't know how many times. Save it. Okay. Now, because we have a variable here, we cannot add const. Okay, let's make it final or const. Only static fields can be declared const. Okay, let's make it final and remove const. Okay, fine. It's all right. Now, what we can do is use another kind of list view, which will help us not repeat ourselves. So I'll copy this card on the side. Okay, and let's go back. Why is it screaming?
Yeah,
Something.
const.
Okay, and remove the list view completely. I hope this will do it. Yeah, and what we will do is write list view dot builder. So we have three things: separated, builder, and custom. Separated will give a separator, a horizontal line for each item, below each item. So you can use that. And for with builder, let's see how to use it. So this builder takes an item builder where we can write our item. So our item is a card. Okay, and because this is a function, we have to return our card. So it is now returned. We can write const for now. Okay, it is here. Nothing has changed, has it?
No, it's not such.
It
We
should.
have to add.
Okay, so
Yeah,
now
it's working.
we restarted it, and now this list has no end. So what it does in list view, to show the next child, so the next item, it will use your item builder. It will run your item builder. with an index. So if we want to do something, I mean, if you want to change the UI of each tile, we can use this index to find out, I mean, which data that we want to show. And right now, what we will do is we will take items from these cities and yeah, and we'll try to show it in the list view. So to do that, what we can do, we can first of all find out which item that we want to refer to. So where item is equal to, or say the city is equal to from cities list, let's take the index, the item that is the city name that is there on the index of this list. So now we can just use city instead of
Yeah, it's const because of
statically
const.
writing it. So it
Yeah,
is screaming that
we have to
it is
remove the
no
const
longer
before guard.
const. Okay, it is no longer const, so
The
remove
53
this.
number line.
Fine, removed. Now what is happening?
Range error. You have to define the item count.
Right. So what this is saying that you are exceeding range. Earlier, what was happening that whatever are seeing on the screen is built by list view by passing an index. So if list view needs to show something beyond our size of the list, then it would definitely not be able to find uh, content for it. So what we can do, we can limit the size of the list view to the amount, to the number of items that we have, similar to that we have in cities list. So it should show only cities that are there in our list. So item count. Let me disable this breakpoint for now. Debug anyway. Yeah. Is it possible? Yeah. Did it start running again? Oh, sorry for that.
Yeah,
No problem. Let's do item count, and
it is
we
not
will
length.
pass the number of items that we have in the array by cities.length. Save it, and that's it. Okay. While it loads, while it runs, let's see this hints. List view builder, scaffold, card. So these hints are for the brackets. Uh, I mean the widget that this bracket corresponds to. So in this line, there are two brackets and it is showing two widgets. So for the sake of readability, uh, and to take advantage of this feature that Flutter gives, you can press comma and then press save again. It will reformat itself, and now you can clearly see where list view ends and where scaffold ends. So this helps greatly in while you are building something. And now you can see that it is showing only that many elements which are there in cities list. So this is how listview.builder works, and Gridview also works in very similar fashion. The only thing is that it also has columns. So the same way we could create scrollable list just by passing children, we could do grid view just by passing children. And let's convert this one into a grid. Can we do that, Bharat? Is it even possible?
Yeah, sure. It can be possible.
Grid
Grid
view
view, the builder.
dot builder. Hmm.
Yeah, and it needs a extra thing
Grid
called grid
delegate.
delegate.
Okay. What does it need me to do? Okay. How
Sliver
do I
grid delegate.
sliver grid delegate with cross axis count, right?
Yes.
with fixed cross axis count, and we'll create an object out of it, and number of cross axis. Cross axis means columns, number of items that can be there in one row. So if you want to create 2 by n, so there can be two items, I mean two columns, then you can write 2 and it will create some this one with two rows, two columns, sorry. Then child aspect ratio, main axis extent, main axis spacing. What is that? Can we do child aspect ratio as 0.2? Is it possible? Or
Yeah.
2? Yeah, 2. 2. What 2 will do is its height versus width will follow this ratio forcefully. So we can do it smaller. 5. 3 was good.
3 was good.
So yeah. So this is how you build photo galleries. That's simple. So if you have seen Google Photos, then they must, when we are trying to pinch and zoom, they must be only trying to change the cross axis
Aspect
count
ratio of scale. Yeah.
and aspect ratio
And
as needed.
child expression.
So you can try to experiment here, and you can also alter spacing for it. So we saw spacing. Let's experiment. Main cross axis spacing. So spacing between columns. Let's keep it 0. Is it possible? Oh, we already have padding there, so it is not showing up. But let's remove padding. Sorry, margin. Yeah, see, it got stuck. And now if we give some spacing, for example, 2, 8, now we have vertical spacing between columns. And if we give main axis spacing, it will space it out vertically with value 8. So it's that simple to build grids, very similar to list view and very simpler than any other tool that you will be using. Okay, so this was list view and grid view, and let's review the book and see if we have covered all the things. Oops, yeah. So what we saw is okay, okay. This also has APIs. Do we really have
API.
to write APIs this early?
Yeah.
Okay, no problem. Let's see if they have an example on how to call an API, and we will do it our way. How much time? Okay, we do not have much time. HTTP dot get
No,
get
it's not
get
doing
get.
http.get because it's using fake API,
What does that
mock
mean?
API,
It is only responding
passing
with
a fake JSON.
fixed fake
Yes.
JSON. Yeah, certainly the book authors do not want to disturb an API owner. Okay, what do you think? Should we do it today? Because it will take some time, or we can just do HTTP when it comes to it, and we'll be anyways creating a list
Yeah.
from HTTP
Yeah. So we can do it tomorrow. Not tomorrow, but next Saturday.
at later stage when we actually call an API.
Yeah.
Uh, so there is this grid view, and you can read about its cross-axis, main axis, similar with list view. Then 5.10 is building the recipe screen. Okay, yeah, please try to look at the code and try to run it if you are
So
trying to
we
follow
have
the code.
already added the code in the GitHub repo that we are sharing.
Oh yeah, can you share that on the chat?
Sure.
Yeah, there is this challenge which is adding a scroll listener, and what and to find out if you are at the top or you are at the bottom when you are scrolling. So this is a fun challenge. Okay, then okay, we have just shown you this sliver grid delegate max with max cross axis extend, and it is asking you to create a single column view similar to list view. You have to create a list view using grid view. That is a challenge. So please try to do this. And if you have any questions, do let us know on Twitter or Discord channel, and all the links are there in the description of this YouTube video. Or follow us on meetup.com. It is meetup.com/flutterahm. And on Twitter also we are flutterahm as a handle. Okay, what is going to be the next thing? Interactive widgets, interaction. So, for example, touches, interaction. Yeah. So, touch, time picker, input and selection widgets, and dismissible widgets. Okay, we'll try to cover those in the next weekend. And let me tell you the timing. So, next every weekend, we'll try to come online, come live at 9 p.m. on Saturdays and 4 p.m. on Sundays. So book your time if you are learning, and let's learn together. And follow Flutter Ahmedabad on meetup.com to stay updated. We create events on meetup.com, and if you follow us, you'll get updates whenever you have we create a new event for this series, and it will also notify you from time to time to join the meeting or to RSVP so that you are up to date. Okay, anything else, Bharat? I think it is all good. Do you have
Yeah,
any
it's
other
good.
comments?
No, no, it's good.
Okay, so that is it, and we'll take leave for today and see you on in the next week. And if you were joining us live, thank you for joining. And if you are reviewing or rewinding this video, uh, thank you for doing that. And see you all in the next week.
Bye.